Welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, Yatin, once again, such a sharp rebound coming in the second half of the session. In fact, a sharp uptick which actually pushed the Nifty above that 19,700 mark. In fact, I think the Nifty has hit a fresh one-month high as we speak. Banks, of course, the clear outperformers today, given the fact that they have picked up steam in the second half, up 1% for this index. And among top sectoral movers, Realty was the other pocket that was doing well. In fact, IT as a pocket also did fairly well, given the fact that HCL Tech hit a fresh 52-week high in today's session as well. So that these are some of the outperformers. But on the downside, you have the likes of FMCG and Pharma. These two pockets were sulking in trade today, and mid and small cap indices continue to edge higher. Mid cap index was up somewhere around 0.7% or thereabouts. So the party continues in that end of the market. Among the gainers, Coal India, that stock was up 7%. You have the likes of L&T, that also on the back of a reported order win, rather 24,000 crore rupees worth of order, up 4%. You have IndusInd Bank, some of the life insurers like SBI Life, HDFC Life, SBI, banking behemoth, and Tech Mahindra among the gainers. On the losing end, you had Tata Consumer after the denial came in on the Haldiram's stake buy. That stock was among the top losers. Britannia, M&M, HUL, Sun Pharma were some of the other laggards. So clearly FMCG and Pharma under pressure. Yatin, shipbuilding companies, sizzling gains coming in for this pocket.
Absolutely, and the defense PSUs are clearly on a tear. If you look at Mazgaon Docks and BDL, so many companies in the defense space which are doing well. In fact, today, if you look at the Nifty 500, you have Kochi Shipyard and Mazgaon Dock being the top gainers. Now, Kochi Shipyard stock was up 20%, and Mazgaon Dock also ended the day higher by nearly 10%. Also gaining were other PSU stocks like Coal India, and that stock was on a tear. Top F&O gainer, stock was up 7%. Apart from that, IRB Infra was the one which moved on heavy volumes. Today the stock was up 8% with volumes of nearly 8.5 crore shares versus a month average of nearly 1.5 crore shares. So very strong volumes coming in for stocks like IRB Infrastructure. What was not doing well is the likes of GSFC. Of course, the stock was ex-dividend, post which the stock is showing a non-existent correction of 7%. APL Apollo and NCC are the other stocks which were down and about in trade. But if you look at stocks like Devyani, GE Shipping, BSE Limited, Welspun Corp, Chola Holdings, Procter & Gamble, all of these stocks have been flying in trade and making new 52-week highs. So the momentum really still is in the mid-cap end of the market.
Of course, momentum then the mid-cap end of the markets. But I think let's also talk about the stocks that are on our radar. You're talking about 52-week highs. HCL Tech is one stock that has hit a fresh 52-week high today, as it has backed a multi-year deal from Siemens. In fact, shares are up for 8th day in a row when you look at HCL Tech, Yatin. It will be providing cloud services and modernize Siemens IT systems worldwide. In fact, the deal will be focusing on automating public cloud environment for the company, and it will ensure that Siemens cloud services are optimized and secure, and they are scalable. Financial details of the deal are not known yet, but remember, TCS of course has also bagged $1 billion deal from JLR, for strengthening their digital services. So deal wins continue to come in for some of these IT giants. In fact, in the last quarter, we've already seen 3 big deals come in, and this is the 4th one when you talk about HCL Tech. In fact, just yesterday, it had also announced that it had been selected by Australian agribusiness elders to accelerate their digital transformation. And if you look at the stock, HCL Tech, it has been up 20% on a YTD basis. 1-year return stands at somewhere around 34%. And valuations are at somewhere around 19 times FY25 PE. So experts say that, since IT pocket has been beaten down so much, these large cap companies, it's rare that these large cap companies will be available at these kind of valuations. And, HCL Tech has been a favorite among some of the expert community. Siddharth Bhamre, for once, whenever I speak to him, he seems very bullish on this particular stock. And of course, he sees room for a lot more upside when it comes to some of these large cap IT names.
Absolutely. And today the bank stocks were moving. In fact, the expectation is that tomorrow RBI might cut the CRR requirements. Obviously, it is speculation. We do not really know what the RBI will do. But brokerage notes have been pouring in for private sector banks. And Nandita, I will take the liberty of taking both the banking stocks, HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank together, to just give you a perspective as to how brokerages are placing faith on both of these large cap banks. Macquarie has a buy on HDFC Bank. They have a target of 2110 rupees. They expect that the merger will give a very strong return on asset. Most importantly, the decline in margin is due to the pressure because of higher operating expenditure, because the company is in the process of getting new branches together. However, Macquarie believes that the long-term story will be intact for banks like HDFC. On the other hand, today Morgan Stanley also came out with a buy note on ICICI Bank with a target of 1350. More importantly, Morgan Stanley believes that the loan growth for ICICI Bank would remain strong. Return ratios also will remain strong. In fact, the kind of margin guidance the management has given that they will be able to maintain margin in FY24 also augurs well for the earnings and profitability. Most importantly, over the medium term, bank expects operating leverage to play out, meaning the better the loan growth is, the higher the profitability could be in the case of ICICI Bank. So the brokerage is sounding bullish on both HDFC Bank as well as ICICI Bank, and both of these stocks clearly contributed to today's rally in a much more compassionate way and much more awaited move coming in, because HDFC has been sideways, and probably today's move on good volumes reiterates that the momentum should continue in the short term.
Right, of course, private banking names have, so far not been doing as well as some of the other pockets, but, looks like, if that ICRR thing comes in, as you said, we could see some bit of a rally coming in on some of these banks as well. But the next stock on my list, the markets were in high spirits today, and so was United Breweries, given the fact that there has been a management change. In fact, Vivek Gupta has been appointed as the MD and CEO of the company, and Gupta's 5-year tenure will start on the 25th of this month. He will be responsible for driving sustainable growth for the company. In fact, he'll be leading the premiumization drive as well as strengthening the iconic brand of Kingfisher for the company. Gupta, in fact, was the chief business officer at B2B platform Udaan earlier, and before that, he has worked at P&G, Procter & Gamble, in various capacities for nearly 2 decades. So, a seasoned hand coming in at United Breweries, and Street has taken it very well, given the fact that we saw nearly 5% rally coming in on United Breweries. The product portfolio of United Breweries includes a wide range of beers, non-alcoholic beverages as well. But if you look at the first quarter performance, wasn't all that great. It reported a nearly 7% drop in revenues on a YOY basis. Margins also contracted by 100 basis points or thereabouts. So the appointment of somebody like Vivek Gupta, who would be leading the premiumization drive at the company, comes as a positive for the company. And but there's a word of caution, given the fact that it has a trailing PE. The stock has a trailing PE of 140x or thereabouts. It makes this stock a little more expensive compared to its peers. But aside of that, it looks like good times are ahead, given the fact that you have a new management at the helm, seasoned hand, and he would be driving the premiumization drive at the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Nandita was mentioning, high on spirits and high on hopes. United Breweries, probably the stock has been sideways, but the kind of dry weather that we have seen in northern India, especially to do with the fact that heat is going higher, probably should augur well for companies like United Breweries, since the product probably should have better demand.
Right, that was all about the stocks that we had on our radar this afternoon. But if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. But from Yatin and me, it's a goodbye for now. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Come back and join us at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow for the pre-market show. But for now, it's a goodbye. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned to Moneycontrol for all your other news and updates.